All right, everybody. Welcome back. For those of you who are new, welcome. So, I didn't expect to get this. I always thought that this particular knife was ugly as hell. But I said the same thing about the Yojimbo. And now I have a few different kinds of Yojimbos. So now, with me being a little Spyderco fanboy, I knew I needed to have one of these simply because, well, it's one of those sought after knives. I never really knew why, though. I always thought it was really strange. Um, and I wasn't really too drawn to it. So let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. Spyderco. Good old Spyderco. And not just any Spyderco. No. This is the Spyderco Dodo in CPM M4, and yes, it is serrated. Now, for those of you who are wondering, this is a Blade HQ exclusive, which means you can only get it on Blade HQ. Of course, you can go to the secondary markets and find your own Dodos that you want, different colors and variations as far as blade types and stuff like that. I probably would have really liked to have this. If it were to be my first Dodo, I would probably get it in a plain edge because it's a hawk bill. But because of it being what it is, I am actually really cool with it having serrations. I do like the Spidey edge. And just to let you know, I should have said this before the video started. If you think that I sound a little funny, I do apologize. I am under the weather. So if you hear me sniffling or even coughing, I know I sound a little bit congested right now. Please kind of just bear with it. Other than that, please forgive me. I don't like being under the weather. I don't think anybody really does. But, each to his own. So Spyderco, I'm going to go ahead and open it up for you guys. You guys see what you guys get in the box. Humongous Spyderco sticker. Now, this is new. Their Spyderco stickers are probably about as small as the actual logo itself, and now they kind of widened it out. So it says crafted for life, Golden, Colorado, USA, Earth. So that's really cool. You could put that on your weapons locker or your knife cabinet or your lunchbox. I don't care. This describes the metal. And of course, this is the special certificate that certifies what it is and where it's from as far as the distributor through Blade HQ. So if you want to read all that stuff, you can. I don't know why I didn't allow that. But yeah, so you would probably have to pause the video in order to read it in its entirety. But it's nothing too great. I mean, it just doesn't have your typical Spyderco books. So in here you get your tactical silica, which I actually now found out that you can actually use this. Like, say you have like a, I don't know, you want to put this in your drawer where your clothes are. It can help moisturize. If you have like a jewelry box, you can put it in there, and what it does is it makes sure that your jewelry doesn't oxidize. If you have a lot of silver jewelry, you can just throw it in there. So I just found that out. I think that's really interesting. Science and common sense. So I think that was really interesting. I've been throwing them away all this time, but they're actually quite useful. Oh, and by the way, yes, it did come sealed with a rubber band. I thought that was really strange, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, here it is, the Dodo in Natural G10, or otherwise known as Jade G10. Here it is. Very strange knife. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was really, really, really ugly. One of the reasons why I never got one. But it's very, very collectible. Apparently, throughout the knife community, if you're a hardcore Spyderco fan or a knife fan, you would have one of these. Or so I've been told. I know there's going to be some people out there that are going to be like, but I don't have one, which means I'm not part of that group. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying, me being an avid knife collector, this is obviously one, and I do have a very extensive Spyderco collection. You guys know that. I don't have the Dodo. Now I do. So this is actually really cool. I am not too familiar with CPM and M4. I do hear that it is pretty much, it's been coined to be a super steel. So really, really cool. For the blade size that this thing is, I really doubt that I'm going to do anything other than cut open boxes with it, because it's a very small hawkbill blade. And the blade to handle ratio is a little strange. You got a humongous handle, and you got, this little claw-like protrusion of a blade. Now that could be a win, for some people. That could be a loss for others. Some people might think that's really neat, and others might not so much. Now, what got me going on this knife is the fact that Spyderco is known for their knives as they are really well in ergonomics. I don't know if I worded that correctly, but Spyderco is known for having comfortably fitting knives in the hand. And a lot of times, some of the really good knife companies have sucky handles, and I gotta tell you, Spyderco has some of the most comfortable handles that I've ever held. So anytime I'm working with a Spyderco, or if I'm using a Spyderco, their ergonomics are out of this world. They're really, really good. Everything feels like it's molded to your hand. It almost makes me think that Sal Glesser and Eric Glesser would take Play-Doh and just kind of hold it in their hand to where it forms, and then they go, okay, let's make a handle off of that and base it around that kind of shape without, it being so obvious. But, taking that and then kind of molding it into something like this. I mean, I don't know why I think that, but that's almost like how it feels, because when you put a Spyderco in your hand, it really does feel like it's molded to your hand. Almost all Spyderco handles are like that. Almost all. Not all of them. And if they are, they're not 100% perfectly in that way, but very much to me anyways, it's very, very similar to that. That being said, there's a lot of things to like about this and a lot of things not to like about it. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I am a little bit under the weather and it sucks. Tried drinking water before this, hyped up with vitamin C in there, so hopefully I can get better soon. One thing that I really do like about this, another thing that I kind of find as a problem, I do like how the locking mechanism is visible. I think that's really interesting. I think that's one of the things that sold me on the knife, because there's nothing like it in my collection. And I do like the wire clip, but it's not 100% deep carry. So, you got this little hump sticking out of your pocket if you are going to hold it. It's not a huge deal, but still, I mean, it's not as deep carry as I would personally like it, but, it's not that bad. The ergonomics, like I said, are really good. You got the 3 little indentation choils, whatever you want to call them. When I'm holding it in my hand, I literally feel like it doesn't go anywhere. So, which means my thumb just kind of naturally sits on the spine like that. And this really does feel like it's naturally form-fitted to my hand. So that's a really good thing. Could this be a hyped-up box cutter? Sure. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of small blades, but they do have a purpose. And for most knife collectors, it's not a huge deal. A lot of people have their own tastes. I have mine. But this Dodo, being as collective as it is, and me not having one, I knew I had to get one. So, and of course, being an CPM M4, that's something that I don't normally have. I think I might have one other knife with M4. Not sure. Don't quote me on it. I don't remember. I might not. Still really cool stuff. So there you go. You got that Golden Colorado USA Earth. You got Eric's insignia, Eric Glesser. And then, of course, this ball bearing mechanism. Now, this is really interesting. It's not really easy to get to. If you have a thumbnail, you can just you heard that click, and it just falls shut. Or you can do the pinch. You can just pinch it down in there and let it fall forward. That's always great, too. Now, this is a very interesting knife altogether. I don't have too many bad things to say about it other than when I first saw it, I thought it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. But it's not about looks. It's about what it's capable of. And being what it is, it has a lot to offer. So, and that was something that I had to learn. I had to learn that this is not about looks. This is about what it's capable of as far as ergonomics and as far as functionality. And I think that's where it excels the most. Never judge a book by its cover, right? Yeah, still learning that. So with this locking mechanism, I do like the spring in there. This is an uncaged ball mechanism, which I'm so afraid that it's going to pop out, but it's not. It's pretty sturdily in there. So, and it's quite fidgety to me. I can sit there. You got to get your fingers in the groove in order for it to be effective. Excuse me. I am so sorry. But it's not bad. It's very interesting to me. It's very, very interesting. I love the Spyderco hole, the round hole. Their opening mechanism on all Spydercos are just fantastic. So we'll get into the specs if I can. I'm going to have to, I want to weigh it, I'm going to measure it. Ooh, moving my mat around, that's never good. And yes, I did cut my thumb earlier, but that was on a box. It was like a paper cut. Just sucked. You're looking at a whopping 2.76 ounces for this big boy. This is not a very heavy knife, obviously. Oh, my nose is killing me, man. It's running like crazy. It's all right. You guys can't see it, so I'm sitting here with snot running down my nose. Anyways, so you're looking at a 2-inch knife with a cutting edge of 1 3/4 exactly. That's a pretty tiny knife. For those of you that have blade restrictions in certain areas and you guys have to have something that's under 3 inches, this would be a nice knife. At least in my opinion anyway. So you're looking at a little bit over 6 inches overall. The handle of 4 1/4. So yeah, blade to handle ratio, not all that great, right? Now, the blade stock on this thing on the spine is nice and thick. Obviously, it tapers down into a very thin and slicey edge with the teeth. Trying to get the calipers out here. It's weird because I'm using this this new thing that holds all my stuff. So it's kind of like a little basket that I gotta reach for. So it's a little awkward. Please forgive me on that. So you're looking at a 0.38 on the handle, and if it matters, a 0.11 on the blade for those of you that give a damn. Now, to me, it's quite thin either way. Had to grab a tissue. At least I can catch up on videos, right? With this knife being what it is, I think it's great for the collection. I really do. For those of you who are Spyderco fanboys, and you don't have one, I think this would be a great piece to anyone's collection. Great addition to anyone's collection. Like I said, when I first got it, I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm going to like it that much. But when I had a little bit of time to fiddle around with it and kind of just look at it, it's a Spyderco. And at the end of the day, I like Spydercos. Doesn't matter what Spyderco it is. I'm always going to appreciate it, and I really do appreciate it. I just hope I don't fall into that category of person who's like, now I want one of every one of this kind. I don't think I would do that. Maybe a plain edge version of this, maybe in a different handle scale color, then I'd be done. That's a maybe. That's a very strong maybe. But that's not really something I'm going to be shooting for anytime soon because these things are a little bit expensive. This one I think came out to $173, $174, something like that on Blade HQ. They do sell pretty fast from what I heard. The previous Dodos that have been out there have sold pretty quickly, so if you're interested in getting one, I wouldn't waste any time in getting one at all. I would get one as quickly as possible because Dodos are known to be extinct. And it wouldn't surprise me that after this, there probably might not be any more to sell unless you have to look for it on the secondary market, which, you know, no one really wants to trust eBay that much. I try to stray away from eBay. I get a lot of fakes on eBay, which led me not to buy knives from eBay anymore. I think I've only had a very small amount of actual legit sales. But that's my own personal experience. I'm sure everybody's got their own. But this is one of those, if you need it, no one needs it. But if you feel it's necessary, then why not, you know? Especially if you got a collection of Spydercos and you don't have a Dodo, get a Dodo. Freaking sound like a Dodo. Anyways, somebody asked me, now before I'm gonna call it quits on this video, somebody asked me, could you use a Dodo for self-defense? To be honest with you, you could use any knife for self-defense, especially if you have any keen type of training on bladed or edged weapons like I do, then yeah, of course. But because it's a hawkbill blade, you're not really going to do too much stabbing with it. You're going to be doing a lot of slashing and doing all that. You just got to keep in mind that it is a sub 2-inch knife. So just to clarify, yeah, one of my friends was like, could you use a Dodo in self-defense? If it was the only knife that I had on me and I was backed into a corner and I was outnumbered and I knew I was going to lose my life, then I'm going to do everything I can to use whatever I got on me. Even if I just had car keys. I mean, it's going to be stupid, but I don't recommend this for self-defense, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But if it was the only thing you had on you and you had to fight to get out of whatever situation, then yeah, pull it, use it. It's not going to be intimidating because of how tiny it is. I'm sure if you whipped it out in front of somebody who's your attacker, your assailant, I'm sure they would probably point and laugh at you before they, experience how bad it's going to be to get hit by it, which is going to suck because they put M4 on this. So this is going to, I'm assuming, is going to keep an edge for a relatively decent amount of time. Now it's a powder metallurgy metal, so like I said, I've only read about it. I've seen some cutting videos. This is a user knife with a user metal. But then again, I'm so used to 440 stainless and AUS 8. I think those were my beginner steels way back in the day, before all these other steels came out that I never even knew existed. So with this kind of special kind of steel on there, and you take this into your warehouse wherever you work, and you decide to use it, let me know how M4 holds up, because I really don't know, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to put something like this to a hard enough test to really, really give you guys any type of input with that kind of blade steel. With it being kind of a super steel, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be a pain in the butt to sharpen, and of course with it being as small as it is with the serrations, I'm sure it's going to be nothing more of a headache to sharpen this bad boy. But I'm sure there's always going to be that one guy that's like, I know how to do this. I'm a pro at sharpening small bladed toothed knives. And to you, my friend, I say, congrats. Because I really don't know if I would want to sharpen this thing. It's really small. So I would hope that with the metal that it is, the steel that it is, that it will hold up in use. And of course, everything dulls after time, so not everything's perfect. But this little guy would be great for any collection. And, where I live, this is perfect for EDC because, well, blade lengths don't really matter. So this is all right. I really love how the locking mechanism works on this knife. It's very, very, very fidgety, so I should probably stop playing with it. Anyways, Spyderco CPM M4 with jade handle scales, Dodo. Get you one. Get you one. If you like small blades, or if you like Spyderco and you got close to 180 burning a hole in your pocket, why not? It's a nice knife. Get them while they last anyway. So go ahead and slash that like button, stab the subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post new videos in these craziest times. Everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all greatly awesome people in the next video. God, there's a fly in my room.